Hello, everyone, and welcome to my live. I am Coach Sherri, and I know many of you, especially the ones that have been rocking with me for so long, are probably looking at your watch and your clocks and your phones and thinking, Coach Sherri is live? It's Tuesday night at 11 p.m. What in the world? I know I decided to come live because my circle, my family, they are tired of hearing me talk about it. And I didn't want to write about it anymore, but I did want to come on here and share it so that it can be captured as, part of my legacy. And just listen, the word trust has been coming up in my mind for so long for these past several days, and it was triggered by a writing assignment that I'm doing. And I've been doing this assignment now for about maybe almost 3 weeks. And it's a writing assignment that requires me to write every single day 2 paragraphs. And it's about how I got here, how I became me, what makes me. And that assignment has been so eye opening. I've really enjoyed it. I didn't think I would be able to keep up with it, but I actually have more to write than I am writing. I always have to tell myself to stop, and I'm realizing my paragraphs are much longer than they're supposed to be. But it's really getting things out of what makes me me, how I became who I am. And the word that resonates with me most is trust. And when you think of the word trust, it always is aligned with who do you trust? Who, maybe a relationship you're in, a business you have, it could be a place that you're going. What or who do you trust? And when I think about trust, I don't think of it in that way. Here lately, especially, I've been thinking about trust in terms of how much do you trust yourself? And do you trust yourself? And that is a question that I don't think it's asked often at all. I think it's something that people overlook. People don't really understand the importance of do you trust yourself? We want to trust so many things, so many different people in our lives. We want other people to trust us. We want them to trust us with their time, with their money, with their items, with their information. We want to be able to trust people with our time, our money, our information, our ideas. We want to trust them. If you are a parent, you want to trust that your children will do the right thing and represent your family well when they are not with you. You want to trust that if they're telling you they're going to be someplace, that that's where they're going to be. If you are in a relationship with a partner, a spouse, you want to trust that they are going to be true to you, that they are only going to be with you. You want to trust that the things that they tell you are true. But what about you trusting yourself and how you move and your capabilities? Are you putting that much effort into yourself? And 9 times out of 10, I will have to say, for most people, that would be no. Now, I remember, growing up, my family, my parents in particular, they trusted me. They trusted that I could do anything I put my mind to. They trusted that when I was leaving the house, I was going where I told them I was going. They trusted that when I was out in those streets that I was going to make the right decision. And because they trusted me so much, and I knew that they trusted me so much, it really made me do the right thing when I was out and about. It made me really want to make sure that I didn't lose their trust because I loved them so much and I trusted them. So not only did my parents trust me, but I also trusted them. And because that trust was a two-way street, I feel that's why I always ended up doing what I knew. If I got caught or if they had seen me or if someone said something, that it was something that I was not ashamed of because I didn't want to shame them, but it was a two-way street. And so when I got into relationships, when I started dating, that was very important to me, trust. I knew what I was going to be doing and what I was capable of, but I also wanted to ensure that whoever I was in a relationship with, that I could trust them. And I recall one relationship, and I always knew that that was always my thing, but I also remember one relationship my freshman year in college, and it was not that at all. I didn't have that trust in that particular partner, that boyfriend, and it really dawned on me how important that is, for my self worth, for my, being, for, just for me to do and be the best that I could be. I needed to be able to trust my partner. But as I got older, I always would make that as one of my um, outliners in any relationship, letting them know how important trust was. But I also had to know I had to trust myself. But I didn't 100% believe in myself. I did trust my parents, but all the things that they thought I would be able to do in life and just, in the moment, I would be like, no, I really can't do that. My mother would say, oh, my Sherry can do this, my Sherry could do that. Hey, Big Rooster Show, how are you? Listen, I'm just on here rambling. I'm really wind all the way down and wound down. And I just wanted to come on here real quick and talk about trust because that is something that has been resonating with me, but it's really not trusting others, but trusting yourself. And so, my mother used to always say, oh, my Sherry can do this, my Sherry could do that. And in my head, I would always say, what? No, she's tripping. Like, why does she always say that? Sometimes it would be embarrassing a little bit, but I would still go forward and do those things that a lot of times she would say I could do. Good evening, Sunshine Films. Thanks for tuning in. Thank you. I'm glad to see you both in here in the building representing. I'm talking about trust. Do you trust yourself, Big Rooster Show? Do you trust yourself? And Sunshine Films, do you trust yourself? And if so, have you always trusted yourself? I didn't learn to trust myself fully, like fully, authentically receive it, just embrace it, believe it was for me, and knowing that, yes, I trust myself. If I say I am doing this, I know I am, and I know that I'm going to do it well. I didn't start walking that line of trust, that level of trust, until I was 40 years old. 40 years old. And so I've been walking in it now for over a decade, well, a little over a decade now, but I didn't embrace the trust that I have for myself until I was 40. And I see everyone is speaking, and let me see. And Sunshine Films is saying I am one of the only people that I do fully trust, coach. Good. That's good to know. And Big Rooster Show is saying, I do sometimes I second guess myself though. Yes, it is definitely a growth process. And so, you know, a lot of things that occur in my life, that has occurred in my life, has been so dynamic. It's like extraordinary. When I tell people about my experiences, past and current, it's unbelievable to a lot of people, but it's the truth. Like, my life has been extraordinary, and I've done things that I never in my wildest dreams thought I would be able to do, never even sometimes even conceived doing it. Um, just really stepping out on faith for sure and just getting it done. But once I turned 40 and I really reflected on my life, because I was 39 when my mother passed, just a couple of months shy of 40. And so after she passed, and we became ambassadors for ALS, the ALS Association DMV chapter, and ALS is Lou Gehrig's disease, which is what my mother had. Um, I looked back on all the things, that I had experienced, not just in my life earlier, but in those past 2 years of caring for my mother every day. And it was so awesome. It was my last life experience caring for her. And I think it was her way of showing me that, yes, I can do anything and just to trust myself. And a lot of times when you encounter something that is really challenging, you just have to go for it. You just have to go through it. There's many times no way around it but to go through it and know that as long as you're alive, you survived and you're there and you made it. And you live to see another day. You live to play another game. And when I really embraced that, when I really recognized that, that's when I had the breakthrough of that true trust in myself. And with that trust came such an awareness until I have been able to truly live in my purpose and my passion. Things had started to attract to me that were absolutely a great fit. Opportunities, and I've always had great opportunities, but the ones that came after that were just like the only thing that it would be missing was my name. That's how perfect it was. And they have been. And it just here lately, like I said, I've been doing this writing exercise that I've been directed to do. And it's about writing 2 paragraphs a day, and they don't have to be long, but it's about how did you get where you are? How are you right now? What are the things that you experienced that brought you to this place? And just going from my earliest memories to some of my fondest memories to some of my most craziest memories, and a lot of the same things or the same themes have been around trust. And I've been very fortunate to, to a certain extent really trust myself, but my inner circle, really I had a lot of trust in them, and when I talk about my inner circle, I'm talking about my parents, I'm talking about my husband, I'm talking about my children, and knowing that they truly believe and love in me. So that has definitely helped. I see East Dad is in the building. Thank you for being here. I wish I had a game, maybe Atari, Miss Pac-Man, or Centipede, a game to play while I'm having this conversation. But I don't know how to do the gaming and talk at the same time. So definitely. Yes. So Sunshine Films, this was an activity that a coach had, coaches need to be coached too. A coach had directed me to do, and when I look at it, that's what it's almost turning into. I'm starting to see some themes and doing some more activities around it, and it's going to be interesting. Um, my story is not necessarily a rags to riches type of story, but it's an empowering story nevertheless. And for some reason it seems like the shine goes on most of the rags to riches, but that doesn't always have to be a rag, doesn't have to be the beginning. And even if it is a rag, was there love? If there's love, then it really wasn't a rag, or it was a good rag. But I just feel like trust is something big. And then looking at people in their relationships, especially parents and children, and the frustration that some parents have. But it's like, are you wanting more out of other people, be it your children, your colleagues at work, your employees in your business, your spouse, your partner, than you actually want in yourself. Because what are you asking that you're not also giving yourself? And oftentimes that's what I'm seeing. And that is the frustration, I do believe. I don't believe the frustration is in the other people. I believe the frustration is within yourself or ourselves when we want to exceed and achieve certain levels, and then we look around and we just kind of pull someone else down because maybe we don't have the courage to look ourselves in the mirror. Looking yourself in the mirror and just fully understanding, not just looking at the external, not looking at the freckles or your nose, the eyes, or your teeth or what have you, but really looking into your soul and understanding who you are and knowing that you are so dope. When was the last time you told yourself how dope you were? When was the last time you told yourself, you know what, you are the one. You are that one, and meaning it. It is not conceit. Do you remember growing up, if you felt positive about yourself, a person that walked with their back straight, their arms back, their shoulders back, their head held high, and people back in the day would call that person conceited. They would literally call a person that had a positive self image conceited. And that is so crazy now. We don't even hear that word anymore. When was the last time you heard the word conceited? And what does that really mean? Why does it have a negative connotation to it? Why can't we look at it as a positive? That person is self-assured, that person understands where they're going, that person sees some light at the end of the tunnel. I like to smile. I feel like smiling brings up my spirit, it brings up my energy. And a lot of times I'm not just smiling like how some people just walk around smiling. You're like, what are they smiling or laughing about? But literally, I'm smiling inside and it radiates on the outside because I'm thinking of all the things yet to come. Or I might be thinking of something great that just happened or something funny I just heard because I love comedy. But I have a smile on my face because A, it makes me feel really good. You should try it. I know a lot of meetings I'll be at, and sometimes they're nonsensical. They're going around in a circle, going nowhere fast. And I don't even want to get caught up in that whirlwind. So I'll just sit down or stay in my seat and I'll start writing some affirmations or drawing something, but I'll have a slight smile on my face. And I'm also thinking of great things that are yet to come that no one else, it's like a best kept secret that no one else knows about, no one else is privy to. And I love it. Okay, they're speaking. I see Vernell is in the building. How are you, Vernell? It's great to see you. And Eastad is saying rags and tatters, 12 years a slave. Yes. Remember that? And when he was in DC in the basement right across from the Capitol, I remember that. I read the book and saw the movie. I know exactly what you mean. And Vernell is saying hello to everyone. But yeah, so I just wanted to come on here, and next time, we have a lot of power over close people in our lives, people that may look up to you for whatever reason. If you are a parent, you have those gifts that God has given you. And how are you, not only how are you treating them, but how are you treating yourself, and how are they seeing you treat yourself is really important. And a lot of times when you say treating yourself, people think, oh yeah, I'm getting a massage, I'm getting my nails done, I'm getting my hair done. No, I don't mean the external things in that way. I mean, how are you treating yourself? Are you being kind to yourself? Are you giving yourself grace? Are you giving yourself energy? Are you not allowing many things in your life to come in that you don't prefer. So many people are doing things and they're doing it in a disgruntled manner because they don't want to do it. How are you taking control over the things that you can control, which is your time, your energy? If you say, well, Coach Sherri, that's how I make my money. I have to do what I have to do because I have to make my money. And I get that. And I coach many people, especially in their early to mid 50s, who are at a point in their life where they can do what they want to do and not what they have to do. However, if that is not your age yet, if you're in your 20s, if you're in your 30s, if you're in your 40s, even 50s, 60s, whatever your age, if you're feeling like you're stuck and you're just doing what you have to do to get by, that's not that's not necessary. You can do things right now to make that change. What are you doing to make that change? How are you improving yourself? How are you learning new things, a new skill? How are you implementing something new that you really do love? Oftentimes, we'll just sit around and just complain, but we want to trust ourselves enough to know, A, that we can learn something new and that it can sustain us. So it's all about the trust you have for yourself. Yes, smiling is the best way to walk through life. It's good for the soul. It is. All right, Eastad, I hope you have a safe journey on the parkway. I know if the parkway is anything like some of the highways down here in Charlotte, they're like a speedway for sure. So be safe. And Vernell, it takes less muscles to smile than to do the frown. When you have the joy of the Lord, it makes you smile automatically. It does. It really does. When you think about all that He has done for us, all that He is still yet to do for us, it should make you smile. It should keep a smile on your face. The fact that we woke up in the morning, the fact that, we have another day to get it right. There's so many that did not make it. I don't go on Facebook often, but I went on today and, I immediately, I don't know how the algorithms work on Facebook with you can have 1,000 plus connections, but those certain messages will pop up first. And old dear friend of mine unexpectedly passed away today, and his sisters had posted about it, and it was just so shocking. Like one of his sisters just had a huge party over the weekend, and he was there, and so now it's like here today, gone tomorrow. So the fact that we're here should put that smile on our face. And it's not about waiting for the inevitable and doomsday or whatever you want to call it. It's about living in the moment and doing it the best way you can, for sure. I am doing very well, Vernell. How are you doing? I hope you're doing well. I'm just listen. I'm chilling right now. I usually don't come on this late, but this message was just in me, and I wanted to pull it out here. I've been talking to my family about it, to my spouse, to my children, my friends, and I said, they're all tired of hearing me talk about this. So let me bring this on to YouTube and get it videoed and put it in my legacy vault, which is what YouTube is for me, so that in the future, my future can look back on this if they have any doubts of trusting themselves. So, yeah, for sure. All right, I see Vernell is speaking to Sunshine. And yeah, Vernell, I'm just taking it one day at a time. I am not going to let anything slow me down. I mean, I slow myself down when I know I need to, but I'm not going to just stop and lay down to let something overtake me. For me, the main ingredient or the best medicine is to keep moving. So that's what I do for sure. Hey, RX Nels, how are you doing? It's been a long time. I know it's been a long time since you've seen me too. These algorithms on YouTube are something else. Literally, my page, when I open up YouTube, it is no one that I am subscribed to shows up, not one person. And they recommend all of these new channels, and their topics are very interesting to me. So when I click on, I'm thinking, oh, this must be someone I'm connected with. And then I'll look and I'm like, I'm not even subscribed to this person. But now I'm caught up in looking at their content. And, 9 times out of 10, I do subscribe or at least like their videos or maybe even make a comment or whatever. But it's just really interesting how YouTube knocked everyone out of my radar, off of my radar. I have to literally search or go to subscriptions. And when I go to subscriptions, it's not a lot of, it's like not a lot of content. It's not a lot of people even on there. Are you all finding that same thing or no? Or are you still good when you open up on YouTube? Because I'm finding that to be a situation. I'm doing pretty good, RX Nails. Thanks for asking. It's great to see you. It's great to see you. I need to go check out some of your designs. I went to a wedding a few months ago and I call myself getting a little design on my ring finger. It was really not a design. It was kind of like a glitter nail accent or whatever. But it it just, I don't know. I'm very basic. I usually get nude or natural colors on my nails. I get the SNS, but I admire other people when they have pretty nails, pretty designs. Mhm. Okay. Thank you, Big Rooster Show. Appreciate that. I really do. And I enjoyed your motorcycle ride. What, that was a Harley that you were riding? Um I love motor, like two-wheel motorbikes, but I Spider is a three-wheeler. That's the one I really really wanted. But I love motorcycles, jet skis. I love horseback riding. To me, those three are very similar. It's all that power and I don't know, it's just something about the freedom. It makes me feel free when I am riding them. I haven't driven a motorcycle in a long time, but it's very exhilarating too, just to have the wind blowing, and it's just the openness of it. I really, really love. Have you ever been to one of the biker weekends? Maybe well, you're all the way on the West Coast, but I know like at Myrtle Beach they have it, Virginia Beach they have it, and I know I think South Carolina they don't have to wear a helmet when they ride a motorcycle anywhere, which is really interesting. But I love it, and your camera did really well. You really need to showcase your tripod or your holder for your, I don't know if it was a phone you used or a camera, but whatever you used, it was steady and your sound was clear when you talked. Even though the wind was blowing and your motor was going and everything, I could still hear you so clearly. I was like, "Oh, that's good quality." So I don't know what kind of phone you had and what kind of tripod you was using, but you definitely need to showcase that. Mhm. Okay, so Harley. So I also like the tricycle Harleys. I don't know if they're called tricycles, but with the two wheels in the back. I think those are really cute and comfortable. Um, I've never done a long distance on a motorcycle, but jet skis was my thing until it wasn't when I fell in the middle of the ocean and I really thought that was it. And I'm actually used to falling in, but I don't know, that one hit different. So I was like, you know what? I'll leave this jet skiing to the young folks. Yes. Yes, sunshine films. It makes you feel like you're flying. And let me tell you, I'm always so tempted to go full throttle. Like that is my favorite. I definitely, when I used to jet ski a lot, I used to go full throttle, or if I'm horseback riding, galloping, I just love that power and just that freedom of it. Absolutely. Okay, it's called GoPro Hero 9 Black. All right. So they have that periodically, like maybe once a year or something. I know for the one in at the beaches here, it's typically once a year for the weekend. And Vernell is saying, when I was young, my dad rode a motorcycle, Harley Davidson, and my uncle was the president of the East Bay Dragons. All right. There's there's a comedian. Oh my goodness, I wish I could remember his name. And he talks about the dragons and his uncle. getting his friends together, and they had like the Volkswagen van and the jackets, but they were old school, you know how they used to talk back in the day, and being on the cell phone like it's brand new with the Bluetooth in their ear. Yeah, I'm on my Bluetooth, and just you don't have to tell people you're on your Bluetooth. You just on it, and it's hilarious. I like to listen to comedy on Pandora. You just pick a comedian, and then they give you all the suggestions that are similar to them. But it's hilarious. That's cool though, Vernell, for sure. GoPro. Oh, GoPro. Is that the That's your tripod, or yeah, your tripod that you use? Listen, I thought GoPro was um the name of a black bikers group or something, but you talking about GoPro is, I believe that's your tripod. I think my daughter has a GoPro. Well, she has one, but she claims she can't find it because I want it because she doesn't use it. And she's saying I think you have to connect it with your phone so that it stabilizes, if I'm not mistaken. And actually, the new iPhone does that too. And I have a new iPad that does it. It stabilizes. So, for instance, on my iPad, if I'm sitting and I move, if I'm on camera, it'll move wherever I go, which is very interesting. Even if I'm doing a FaceTime, my FaceTimes, my camera will move where I go. Okay. Oh, and the camera is Hero 9. Who makes Hero 9? I never heard of that. Is that like I'm not even sure. Listen, I haven't looked at a camera in decades since the phone has such a good camera now. Like Canon, I know that used to be a really good camera, and I think Fuji. Well, I know Fuji Films. I'm not sure. Yeah, that sounds like a legend. The For sure. Bay Dragons, East Bay Dragons. Hmm. Yeah. So maybe Big Rooster, I don't know if do you have a video where you show your camera and your setup? Because I'm trying to tell you, for you to have, I mean, you were turning, making turns and stuff, and yielding, and your camera never was unsteady at all. Hmm. Heck, you might even be able to get a sponsor doing that in real life. So did you know him? You know what, Renell? Sometimes when they are in big groups like that, like being the president of the East Bay Dragons, I'm sure that was a very popular group, and maybe he heard of the group, and just to know that your uncle was the president, that's big time for sure. Hmm. Oh, GoPro is the camera. You see how backwards I am? I don't even know. I thought the GoPro was the tripod, but okay. I need to check out some cameras. I'm not investing in any equipment just yet for YouTube. I know I probably should, but I was thinking about either I have a space in my home that would be a really good podcast room. And it's actually a room that we don't really do anything with. But then I was like, I don't know if I want to invest in all that. But they have podcast studios around. Do they have podcast studios where you are, where you can rent them for a couple of hours a day? I know in New York last summer, my daughter lived in Lower Manhattan, and there was a really nice bookstore. It was very eclectic, a community bookstore, and they built a podcast room in there. And they said it was free to the community. You just have to reserve it, which I thought was really cool. Let me see. Her uncle's club is one of the most legendary clubs in the country. See, Vernell, that's what I'm saying. You never know. Even if they never met your uncle, if it's a legendary club, I'm sure it is. Definitely. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Big Rooster. It is very clear, your camera. Mm-hmm. Definitely. Let's see. Okay, so GoPro is the make, and Hero 9 Black is the model of the camera. Okay. So go. I don't even know. I mean, well, I guess you could buy it online. You could buy anything online now. Because I was going to say, remember they used to have camera stores when I was in high school, my senior year. So when I went to the high school, and my kids will always say, "How was it growing up in the 1900s?" But I graduated high school in '87, and if you had enough credits to graduate your senior year, the whole spring semester, you didn't have to go to class. You could do a senior project. So some people worked for businesses in the town, or some people were student teachers for elementary school. They assisted the teachers, and I was lucky and got a senior project where I took pictures of seniors. And actually, my project started at the beginning of the school year of our senior year, and it was four or five of us. It was five of us all together. Myself, this girl Dee Dee, these twins, Toby and Terrence, and another guy named Vernon. And our senior project was to create a senior slideshow. So we had to take pictures of all senior activities, senior events, senior sports, senior everything senior related. And we had to back then, we didn't have disc, we didn't have VCR, none of that. Well, no, we had a VCR, but we couldn't put something like that together. We had to do the slides. Remember the you could take a picture and get your film made into slides, and we would take it. Kodak had a factory or something like a factory not too far from where I grew up, and we would have to drive our film to that factory to get them to put the film into slides. And then Toby and Terrence were DJs, and so they put music to our slides. But it literally took a year for us to put it all together. And towards the end of the year, right, a couple of days before the last day of school, all the seniors got together in the auditorium, and we presented them the slideshow. And when I tell you, there was not a dry eye, because, everyone would see themselves. I mean, we got it all the way up to the prom. And so, you see the best friends, and, after high school graduation, everybody's going off to something different, something new. And you might not, it just wasn't going to be the same after we graduated. So, I remember a lot of the songs we used were Anita Baker songs. She was really, really popular back then. And it was really cool. I don't know if high schools are still doing that or not, but um oh, where would they have their annual Labor Day weekend bash, Big Rooster? Oh yeah, Labor Day is always a vibe. So Virginia Beach, when I was in college, oof, Labor Day was a vibe. That's where everybody would go and just really hang out. I remember my roommate and I, we made sure we bought all of our books for school before Labor Day, so that whatever money we had left, we would use it to to go. And we got there, and I promise you, the first time, and really the only time we went, as college students, we only had enough money to get there. I don't even know how we ate. We had to find people that might need a ride back to Pennsylvania to campus, so that they can give us gas money to get back. We didn't even have gas money to get back. That was crazy. Okay, you did a lot. So what do you typically do your lives on, Big Rooster? Your laptop? Okay, in Oakland, California. I was in Sacramento, California. I think in March. I was presenting at a conference, and Sacramento was a very interesting city. I walked from New Sacramento to Old Sacramento, because my hotel was like in the town, the city in the midtown or whatever, and it was deserted. It was a Wednesday afternoon, about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and there were barely any people out. I was surprised. Like, no one that worked, or, just day to day hustle and bustle of a city, but there were a lot of homeless people out. And I walked past two homeless men, and they were sitting there, and they said, "Yeah, Sacramento is really going down. The only people you'll see are the rich, rich, or the poor, poor." And I was just like, "What's really going on?" You built your PC? Okay, okay. I sometimes when I do my lives, I use my laptop, but I'm doing a live on Saturday. I might use my iPad. I've never used my iPad though, but well, actually I'm on my iPad now. I just don't have my camera on, but when I have my camera on, I usually use my laptop. And I'm pretty sure I can keep put my camera on for, my iPad too. Just not sure. Oh, you live oh, I should have. Yeah, if I would have known, I definitely would have, for sure. I was there for a few days. I love the West Coast. I actually lived in Yorba Linda, but that's outside of Anaheim in Southern California. We lived there for a year. My husband was the last Ram in a first St. Louis, a last LA Ram in a first St. Louis Ram. So we were in LA for that last year. I loved LA, but I didn't prefer the LA Rams. But I loved the St. Louis Rams. And I think it's because, when we got to LA, it was fine for my husband because, he's on the team with his peers, and he might have went to college with some of them, or they're just teammates, whatever. But for me, I didn't really know anybody like that. I mean, I knew our realtor, and I knew our neighbors, but like the women were not nice. I was like, wow, they would talk all around me at the games, and it was just, I don't know, I wasn't used to that. And so when we moved to St. Louis, we all were new to the city. None of us were from St. Louis, none of us ever been to St. Louis, and my realtor in St. Louis was amazing. And so she, showed me all kinds of things. We got a nonprofit with this place called Matthew Dickey. And so the men that were like the little league coaches and stuff, they were really good with um, hooking us up with tickets to concerts and such. And they were just really good people. I love the people in St. Louis. And I don't know why, but we got acclimated to St. Louis first before any of the other players. We just got involved with the city. And so it was kind of like even playing field. When I would see the other wives, they would just, look lost. It was interesting. But then for Thanksgiving, we had the whole offensive lineman over for Thanksgiving because it's different when the team moves to a new city. It's really different, a different experience for sure. Yes, the traffic was bananas. A 6-lane highway, and it's bumper to bumper. That was crazy. The traffic is bananas in LA for sure. Hmm. But yeah, I just wanted to pop on here, you all, and just talking about trust. You see how conversations kind of veer off a little bit, but that's okay. But you know what, Big Rooster, I love the weather in LA, and I've been to a few conferences in LA since we've, not way since we had moved away from there and everything. And as a tourist, it's pretty cool. Um, it's unfortunate though, with all the homelessness that I see, for it to be such a city with so much wealth, quote unquote. I don't know what that means. That's all relative, but the homelessness is really disheartening to see, and I'm seeing a lot of that here in Charlotte. In most major metropolitan areas, I'm seeing it a lot, and it just makes me wonder. I know in Charlotte, a lot of people that have some challenges, for some reason, they hang out down by the bus stop. I mean, not the bus stop, but the bus depot, like where the buses come and gather. And, I guess they get there. That's where they start, in the morning or in the afternoon, whatever. And I'm just like, there's so many things that you could really be doing. And I know a lot of it has to deal with mental health, but it's just, I don't know. We have to have grace, but I'm just not understanding the outreach, and especially if they're veterans, you know, what's really going on. So, um, that makes me concerned. But at any rate, you all, I want you to start looking in the mirror and tell yourself how dope you are, how awesome you are, and think about different ways that you can trust yourself more. If you find yourself, really being on someone, badgering someone to do better, you want them to do better, you're just not understanding why they won't do better or whatever, turn the mirror on yourself and you be that example and do better so that they can see you doing better and that will encourage them to do better. But you are great. And I want to thank you all for being in the building. This has been awesome. I may do this more often. This has definitely been spontaneous. Listen, I set this StreamYard up and I was like, yeah, I'll go live in 10 minutes. And, so it wasn't planned at all. But I definitely enjoyed this. Up way past my bedtime. I know my husband will be down soon. So I'm going to step off and I'll see you all again later. Thank you so much again for being here. You welcome, Big Rooster. You are so welcome. You are so dope. And if y'all haven't checked out Big Rooster, he has a podcast, a real podcast. And if you go and look it up on, I did it on Apple Podcast, I believe. And I know I had to remember Big Rooster. It was a challenge. I'm telling you, technology for me. But you can look it up, the Big Rooster Show, and he talks about some real stuff. So it's a good thing, and his show is good too. I have to try and catch it. That's what I'm saying, Big Rooster. This daggone YouTube thing, I have to figure out this algorithm, but I will. But all right, everyone. Good night. Until we speak again, you stay safe. I am Coach Sherri, and it's been my pleasure sharing with you this evening. Yes, okay. Big Rooster's podcast is on Spotify, and he has a really good perspective on a lot of things. So definitely check out his podcast. All right, take care. Good night, everyone.